from end to end. When the clock hits 12, you know where to be. Turn it up, Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that.
Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. And perhaps it is appropriate this morning to start and say, beware the Ides of March. Beware the Ides of March. March is a significant period. The Ides of March had no significant connotation except after 44 BC when Caesar was murdered. And from then on, the Ides of March has been important, and it is associated with betrayal and misfortune. So at this period in March, I believe it is reasonable and justified for me to make that claim. Beware the Ides of March. We are on Real FM 91.9, 91.5. We are on We Noise FM. That is in Brooklyn, New York, 94.9. And we challenge you. We ask you to subscribe to our program. Remember, Real FM is the only success story in radio outside of St. George's. At that time, people believed you had to be crazy and mad to believe that you could come up in the north of the island and open a radio station and succeed. It was no easy task. It was easier to buy a car then. It was easier to open a rum shop. But the people who did it had to believe in the parish. And all know we consider him as a patrician. You could say what you want about him. But after 20 years, Real FM is a success story and a force to reckon with in the country. So I say today, beware the Ides of March. And the door is open. The number to call is 4420175. Yes, thank you. Go right ahead.
I am the voice of one crying out in the wilderness.
And that's the best time to cry on the Ides of March.
I believe, Senior, that Gabi will vex me because I open back.
Gabi gonna come down one down.
A special good afternoon to you, Senior, and to the listening audience. Yeah, Senior, I am very much concerned on as it relates to the present situation of the Royal Grenada Police Force. Picking up from intelligence sources that the force stretch very thin as it relates to vehicles. And that is not good for national security, which the Prime Minister portfolio falls under national security. I believe that every effort must be made to make sure that the police have good and adequate vehicle. So in case that something happens, the police can be able to move as they want. And I cannot understand why the police at times stranded for vehicle in the event that if they are called upon to perform the duty. And I call on the Honorable Prime Minister. I do not know that if you is aware of it, but I guess that you is aware because you are the Minister for National Security, and the top cop, I guess, will report that on to you. So I'm asking you, please, Mr. Prime Minister, seeing that the Grenada Police, the Royal Grenada Police Force, press very keen as it relates to vehicle for them to move here, there, and everywhere. Grenville is a problem. And the police officers will tell you that. It's really embarrassing for the police. I'm speaking on their behalf. I have relatives in the police force. I have friends in the police force. while yes, the police wouldn't even come and see what I'm saying, but I'm speaking on their behalf. So I'm asking you, please, Mr. Minister, the 15 vehicles that were purchased for the, for the MPs, and the MPs present right now are leaving their vehicle home and they're using this pickup truck to go to work. So I'm asking you, please, even though it's 10, you have to move out of the 15. Maybe you could supply 2 to Grenville, 1 to Granary, etc. So please help the police, because I'm telling you, the evidence are there to prove that they're very low on vehicle. So we have these pickup trucks and them and reach the MPs that have it, they're using it very much discriminately. They're just having it here, there, and sporting with it here and everywhere. I seen them certain places, and I'm wondering, what are the purpose of this vehicle you give to your MPs? Are you aware of that? So out of the 15, please take 10. Grenville could do it too, as it is present right now. Please help. I rest my case in here. Thank you.
Yes, scholar. I don't think there is any justification for providing vehicles for the MP. This is just part of the Prime Minister corruption policies. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Good day, Mr. Pierre, and listening audience.
Yes, my brother.
I hope if I'm not forced, I want to be one down.
Well, you wonder.
Well, that could work for me, because I don't want to be late at all in the program.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I believe I should make my point at the early stage. I want to support the caller a while ago. This is why I said to the nation and to St. Patrick especially, because I've been speaking to St. Patrick, not only St. Patrick, Grenada, but I emphasize on St. Patrick East and West, because that's my parish I've been working with all my life when I was active in politics. This government is the most wasteful government where taxpayers' money is concerned, because the government want to be a force in most things, but they're still making a fundamental mistake, because they said that they have some vehicles for ministers for constituencies. And we in St. Patrick, as I say, and I will continue to say, we have a parliamentary rep who is a big joker, because I don't think the Prime Minister will see everything. That's, the Prime Minister may not be able to see all of what is going. And the people place him there to take care of their affairs. I understand from the public that this van in St. Patrick West is being used for drivers' personal business and other things. This is taxpayers' money. This is why I'm saying we don't have to wonder if that government could really manage the affairs of Grenada. St. Patrick, your day is coming. Do the right things. You're going to get a good rep. Mr. Jelly Green of St. Patrick of Shantimel, St. Patrick, will provide you as the next representative for St. Patrick West with accountability and transparency of how the government affairs is going in St. Patrick. I know he will give you account. He loves to do that. You will hear what he's doing. He would not remain silent. And he have a lot of advisors, like those of us who are already retired. If he made a mistake, we will be able to prop him and tell him you're going the wrong way. And I know he will listen. It's not as we have a government now who remains silent, who is listening to the leader. The leader is one of the most corrupt leaders in the history of Grenada. The leader is the first to endorse corruption in Grenada. And that's something we have to take note. That's a very, very, very serious offense to have a leader encouraging corruption, which is not a right thing. Mr. Green, you in the right team. You with the right leadership. Miss Emmeline Pierre, who take over from Dr. Mitchell. She is a leader. I know she cares about people. She have love for people. As we say, politics is about people. We must stand with her. She well trained under Dr. Mitchell team. This is why I'm happy for Mr. Glynn, who associate himself with the party what will take Grenada forward once again. The NNP is the answer to Grenada. Those people who eat enough food don't want to admit. NNP is the answer to Grenada. NNP will put Grenada back. They always have the problem to fix the damages which was made by the NDC. And I know it will happen again. I want to congratulate our leader last night for a very good meeting. We got good food for so in this meeting. Very good meeting. And I know history will take place in Grenada. When I saw the turnout and the participation, a young lady going to break history in Grenada. Grenadians, take note, listen, and realize that you have a government who don't care about you, who are very selfish. We don't deserve that. Grenadians, you don't deserve that. I rest my case, Mr. Pierre.
Thank you very much, Scholar. Thank you very much. Yes, March is a significant month in Grenada's history. And we open up the floor and encourage people to speak about the history. Yes, Scholar, welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, Scholar.
Good afternoon. Look, go cut my man.
Scholar, let me say something to you.
Go ahead.
We does not cut you off. Most times when you're saying something and we're speaking to you, you're not stopping. And we give you a reasonable time on it. We don't really cut off people.
Okay,
Go right ahead.
So, Pierre, I listened to a press conference with Ms. Evelyn Pierre. And I believe this woman is a dumb woman. I could tell that. Can you imagine, Mr. Pierre? Evelyn Pierre telling the Ghanaian people that they peg the gas at $15 a gallon and they take it up. They take up the peg. That is first class stupidity. She don't have sense hour. Right now the gas is $14.05. The people getting 2,000 cents. That is a fact. If NNPD, even if you didn't take it out, they are up to 2,015 cents more. Oh God, Mr. Pierre. Please, Pierre, something, Mr. Pierre. Pierre say again, she will take out VAT on electricity, she will take out VAT on corn, she will take out VAT on sugar. Mr. Pierre, when she take out the VAT, you know what happened? That $225 million she will be taking, the government will be losing. And she can't tell you where she will get it, where she will make it over. Mr. Pierre, that $225 million VAT, they are paying the teachers, the policeman, they are paying everything. And the woman still come back and telling you that you have a deficit in the country. Well, if you have a deficit in the country, Mr. Pierre, and you collect VAT on everything, and you still have a deficit, Mr. Pierre, if you take out the VAT on everything, the deficit go climb, The deficit might be 200, 300 and something $million, Mr. Pierre. Teach it to my some sense, no? Where she'll make it back? She'll quarter and pay? That 200 and something $million, she'll quarter and pay to get it? That's the most dumbest thing ever here. She says she'll take a 5 cents, 10 cents on the VAT, no? She'll take the VAT on sugar, take the VAT on electricity, take the VAT on electricity, electricity. That is the most dumbest thing ever here. Mr. Pierre, the past government and may pay to decide. She has no vision. She don't have no vision. She fighting for the Ghanaian people to go in America and work on the fishing in America. That is stupidness. They don't have no vision. A man with vision. You know what I do? From the time Noah ban the fish, you know what I do? He set out to get replacement for the fish and all Ghanaian goods. So we don't have to say nothing in America. America could take it. We don't say no. I hear when the government say that they're looking for fresh places to sell the goods. They get everything America could produce. China trying to buy it. And they sign an agreement to buy it. They're one of the greatest things. When I have all the region carrot and all kind of things, and all kind of sales, right? I believe when this deal signed, that will be the greatest thing in America. That time all them people know what's harder and thing, they will be working it because they have to sell their produce. What I want to do, Mr. Pierre, I want to link it up to marketing board. So marketing board could go direct and bring them to public. I said, Mr. Pierre, that's a man with vision. Vision for this country. Everybody could go on about this and that. Catalan high all over the world and getting more high again. When you hear this war, don't get it. More high for us. So we better bang we belly because we go smell.
Thank you, Color. Color, I don't think you understand that when government and maybe the politician not speaking clear enough, when government say they cap the gas at $15, if it reach more than 15, they cap it there. It doesn't mean that if it's 13, they will bring it 15. If it's 99, if it's 10, it's 10. But if anything over 15, the government would come and intervene. That is what MNP advocated. Color, when the government raised the price of water, electricity, and sugar, I was convinced that this bunch of political neophytes don't know what they're doing. Anytime you raise electricity, water, and sugar, particularly, you did it together, it's going to cause a rise in the cost of living. That is what MNP are dealing with. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, after Mr. Pierre, how are you doing?
Great, man.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, you know, to myself and to many Ghanaians, this government, led by the commission, I will consider them as pirate. You know, the history book talk about John Hawkins and Francis Drake. When a man leave to go and drop some goods somewhere, before he reach his destination, some people they appear.
Francis Drake wasn't breaking the law that time. They was not breaking the law that time. That is totally different. They was not breaking the law. They had permission from the British government to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it was not illegal.
What I'm saying, based on what this government doing, what they're reading going to develop.
That is illegal.
Right? They're really going to develop bank. Look again the wastage, Mr. Pierre, of the taxpayers' money. When you have a minister staying in town, and the driver lay in St. Patrick, and you have to leave and come quite on here to meet the minister to drop him on walk. And
what they need to do is to let the driver take bus and go. But in the first, you see, color, in the first place, I hear people, the vehicle was not for constituency. The vehicle was used for the ministers to gallivant. You have nothing to do because the ministers concerned about the constituency. That is why people looking at the personal things they're doing. But I want to give them the vehicle for.
Mr. Pierre, all right, boy. Greener, they're the worst water ever see.
He could get worse. Color, he could get worse. Things has deteriorated fast.
Mr. Pierre, not to that day worse. I think any government will be worse.
It could get worse. It could get worse. It could get much more worse than
that. And that's what president before election call. Yes, it could get worse. But any government coming after Mr. Pierre, I don't think they could get. It could be worse than that present.
Caller, you have to start to look at those African countries. Maybe you start to take some interest and look at the African countries, South Africa, look Zimbabwe, look at them. They're deteriorating. They're getting worse. Somalia, Uganda, well, yes, but it could get worse. What you see there is a joke, you know. When Deacon finished with this country, it's taking decades and a lot of sacrifice to bring it back. And when people accept it, our next government could come and do worse.
Yeah, so in my conclusion, I see this group of politicians, the aim and desire was never to help better the living condition of the poor people going to compete. They see getting politics is somewhere where they could enrich themselves and make themselves millionaires. Because that is exactly what they're doing. And look at the scenario again. There is Lacret, the one he was responsible for that ministry, right? That fall under his ministry. He investigated the matter. He dropped a letter to the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister
fire Lacret.
The Prime Minister fire Lacret, right? And they let the one who committed the corruption remain there.
That the Prime Minister partner.
What happened over it? I understand. He resigned. He is asking to resign.
But what about them flower and all the pressure we've been putting on Jenny Simon, we on the radio station. So they're just trying to see if you don't have to resign. You have to lock him up.
But he is the cause of all that, because when people report to you and you have the
you all don't understand that Deacon is the corrupt in chief.
He's in everything, Palanda. He knows about everything.
He involved.
He knows about everything.
Yes,
right? But you allow his friend and doing so. Mr. Pierre, all right, no. All right. That government going in the book of shame as the worst leader, as the worst cabinet ever passing grader. I don't think any government coming will be as bad as that. Yes,
you're surprised we could get worse. Things could deteriorate in a country faster than you believe. Once the people become very tolerant to crime, things could deteriorate very, very fast. So don't believe it can get worse. Because you expanding your standards, you're dropping your standards. Today in Grenada, we have the whorehouse and striptease well distributed in low-income areas. This thing never happened in Grenada before. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, caller.
Now, one of the things I like about Donald Trump is that whatever he sees, he have a tendency to call it as it is. He don't mix matters. Now, when Donald Trump calls certain countries shithole countries, a lot of people usually get upset. Now, the whole thing about it is that in my personal opinion, if you don't want to be called shithole, if you don't like the truth, then do what is right. Grenada was a shining example, not only in the Caribbean, but in the world. What did we do, Grenadians, not me personally? Grenadians elected a bunch of pseudo-intellectual jackasses to govern this country. And look what is happening. So right now, Grenada on the path rapidly to another shithole country. We soon become like Haiti and them places. But who to be blamed? We need to wake up. use our wisdom, pray, seek wisdom from God. And when these conmen and them, these crooks come with all this sweet talk to tip our heads, making promises that they know cannot be fulfilled, we need to keep them out from the seat of power in this country. So the problem is with us. We need to wake up, seek wisdom from God and take the right decisions. Don't allow ourselves to be tricked by these conmen and them. Have a good day, sir.
Yes, and that is why it could deteriorate and get worse. You always have in Grenada, you hear about some little striptease club going on in St. George's or in, I think, Grenville or something. But now we have striptease clubs and whorehouse from Monday to Monday, well distributed in low income areas. And you shock at the level of tolerance. The police don't know. Some church people at Holy Mother and Dow don't know. The teachers in the school don't know. In fact, the teachers are going and see what's going on. So what you're going to find, we lower the bar and we have greater tolerance for decadence. Almost all big countries, you have these things. In a small country like Grenada, what you're going to find very quick, you start to identify the women that bury in their face when they go on the stage and strip naked. You're going to start to identify them in the street, and somebody might see the daughter or the son. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Yes, scholar, welcome.
Relative to that whole house thing that you're talking about there, I heard of a guy who, when he went there in one of them strip clubs, saw his own sister. He had to find his own sister stripping there. He almost faint. Anyway, and it's no joke, eh? Mr. Pierre, somebody said something to me weekend that was so amazingly interesting. This is similar to how we describe people with a disease called diabetes. The person came up with a phraseology or a name for the disease. He has diabetes. It sounds very interesting. There's that guy who wanted you to bring proof when you accuse the Prime Minister of having approved millions of dollars illegally relative to the being a development bank. The answer I'm going to give him in a while. Mr. Pierre, there is a very vocal gentleman in this country who used to be one of the most vehement, aggressive person when Keith Mitchell and his administration was there. He used to accuse the government of being corrupt. Nepotency was prevalent as far as the concerned. He was glad to see the back of Keith Mitchell until he started really recognize, because he was hoping that Keith Mitchell would be out. I listened to him all the time. So I heard him make comments to the effect that he was glad things changed. Only to find out how disillusioned you could get in a situation like it turned out to be. To the extent, Mr. Pierre, that he has so much together. When the acronym of the words sounds very much like Dickens' name. And in which situation, and when he speaks about it, he talks about the incompetence of this government, the worst he has ever seen, the worst, most corrupt government he has ever seen. Right now, he says that all the time. The person who is wanting to see the back of Kit Mitchell and the rest. I'm not saying he's sorry that or like he want to see Kit Mitchell back again. But he definitely would wish so much for that present administration because it's so corrupt to get out of the way. And this is not a party issue, Mr. Pierre. It's an NLP or a GMP or a GOLP or whatever. That is not the situation. And in answering this guy, when he's trying to get you to bring proof, the guy's got millions of dollars from the GDP bank illegally. And it's tantamount to the worst at the level of corruption. The Prime Minister in an interview, a press conference, whatever it was asked that question was why is it that guys who are not supposed to get money, it is illegal to give them money, got money or millions of dollars from the Guerrilla Development Bank. I'm quoting the Prime Minister word now in answering the issue. He said that they are citizens too. I'm quoting, he said they are citizens too. So, which also means that it's more than one. It's not just the one that the people emphasize who used to do the business in Grand Anthony, St. George's, and wherever. He mentioned citizens too. There are more than one. Talking about deceit, talking about corruption, Dickon is the epitome of it. Dickon lied to people and get votes in the last election, saying by the stroke of a pen, so much things could be done and should be done because if you choose me, that's what I'll do. If you want to find out a lot about that, talk to Ms. Daisy Hazard or listen to Ms. Daisy Hazard when she's talking about what is going on relative to the public service and the frustration that people are having in the public service. To the extent that in the particular situation in the hospital, she said that she has to play a referee all the time so that nurses don't go on strike because of the frustration that they're experiencing under this government policies and programs.
Yeah.
Concerning the stroke of a pen, when he had to come and explain in a press conference how impractical and nonsensical the statement that he used to be making early years, he brought the prominent secretary of the ministry, one Miss what's her name again? What's the name of the
Prominent
Miss
secretary.
Marshall.
Yeah.
Prominent secretary called Miss Marshall. He brought her in the press conference. And when it was his turn to explain to people, he called upon her to explain to people what the situation was. He also pointed to the nation that this thing, that way it was cannot happen. Mr. Pierre, we have to understand the system that we have here. Typically in a situation is the Public Service Commission. A lot of things have to go through the Public Commission. A lot of policies and programs has to be implemented coming from the cabinet. We sometimes have to go through Parliament for finality. Governor sign it and whatever. But a lot of the processes has to be done through the public service. And when you're, for example, using the situation in the lottery with the former minister opposing it and get result as a result. If the guy is listening to all this, I don't know why
the guy don't want to reason. The guy just using a distraction tactics. He doesn't. That's why I didn't follow him up on that. Yes, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Take care, sir.
Yes, I didn't think he want reason. He's just using a distraction tactic. I have a program that I do on Studio Galaxy 473 on Saturdays, and I will deal with the topic. Why I believe Deacon Mitchell is leading a gang of thieves. And I'll give reasons why. So look out on Saturday for that program on Studio Galaxy. why I believe Deacon Mitchell is leading a gang of thieves. I don't think corruption is too sophisticated. They're just a common gang of thieves. That is what I believe, based upon the information that I have, based upon the evidence that is looking extremely empirical. Look out for the program on Studio Galaxy 473 on Saturdays. Yes, Scholar, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, good afternoon.
Go right ahead.
Good afternoon, Greta. Mr. Pierre, I remember, I could recall that so many times, so very often, yourself, Mr. Sheldon Scott, Mr. Andre Donald, even in those days when Mr. Devon Romaine and even Jennifer Simon had been airing their voices on the programs, right? These podcast programs, calling out the government, right? Now, I am seeing a difference between party and government, right? The party would have won the election and would have formed the government. The government would have been a mixture, would be a mixture of different persons of different social classes and you know, different political persuasion and so forth, right? But however, it seemed that after these general people, yourself, that name that I called, had heard their voices and give the signal that some unwanted things are taking place. There are some party people, party NDC supporters, start jumping down your throats and calling you all liars and everything like that. Just name it. Now, when the word broke that the FIU had been interfered with, right? The Financial Intelligence Unit was interfered with, and it was directed or led by not a police officer or a public service officer that we would have recognized as a police, who have been trained to manage and to deal with this particular intelligence unit. Questions was asked and talk about if Mitchell afraid that he'd be investigated and everything like that, and other NNP officials of the past. Now, the thing what they were trying to do, it was just to me a smoke screen, right, to defend the persons who were under questions that was asked by these different podcasters, the name that I called. For example, when Minister, the Honorable Lacrette, right, had broke the news, and a matter of fact, gave the letter to the gentleman that 2 days alleged resigned from Lato, right, would have broke the news. The Prime Minister, as far as I understood, it's alleged that the Prime Minister called him into a meeting, or invited him to a meeting and sacked him from his office, and then under the premise that I have no confidence in you. Now, what are the no confidence? What is the no confidence that he had in him? As far as I understood, that he spoke about what was going on in the Lato, right? Now, from the latest development, right, we really need to give you all a pat, an award for digging so deep and coming up with these inferences that one could possibly be indicted of robbery or theft or misappropriation of state funds, right? Now, I want this dear gentleman who usually call you all the time. There's a few of them, a couple of them that usually call you and call out the Prime Minister as a statesman, and a one with honesty, and one that is governing, and one that is, has set up different things. Now, I want him to come, right, and take a stand against corruption, even alleged corruption, things that has been announced that could be investigated. So my call to him and to the others who always take a turn on us when we try to expose wrongdoing, let them know that we don't hate anybody, but we want to make sure that Grenada succeeds. And in so doing, if Grenada succeeds, it means that the people of Grenada, the state trials of state, would benefit. So hats off to you all. You're doing a very good work in wising up the people and giving them good information that could help us or lead us to a direction. Now, I want to let you know that last night I've attended a meeting at the current government school. And to be honest with you, I've never seen a crowd in St. David. I'm telling you, in St. David over the past few years during our campaign. And I call this a campaign because we campaign it. And we can count over 350 to 400 persons within school, sitting inside, downstairs, and out to the road. Now, we want to tell the NDC supporters that we don't hate them, we love you, and we want to make sure that you understand what truth is. When truth is in tongue, lie and falsification has to run. Thank you, Mr. Pierre. Let's tie the truth on these people. God
yes, scholar, thank you very much. Beware the eyes of March. We're in the month of March. That is the period when we had the legitimate government was overthrown by Maurice Bishop. It ended 4.5 years after. And Maurice Bishop supervised over the worst crimes in Grenada after slavery and colonialism. Many decades have passed, and a lot of young people don't know the history. So during that period, we must speak about it. Yes, scholar, welcome. Yes, scholar, go right ahead. Punch.
Yes, Mr. Pierre, permit me a little bit again. I want to point out another big lie that the President Prime Minister gave in this country again. And I started by telling you there's a lady who usually point out her disgust about the Prime Minister's lying ability. And
What happened there? Caller? All right, we lost that caller, it seems. But we lost the caller. Yes, so you can give us a call back because it appears that you got lost. So it is important for us to talk about history. Sometimes you don't have writers. And when Monkey writes his story, Monkey always writes. Yes, caller, welcome. Go ahead, caller.
yes, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, go right ahead.
There's that lady who very strong supporter because she claimed that she's one of the founding member of the NDC party in 1980, whatever it was established, around the 1990s or so. And she always called upon the Prime Minister to satisfy the nation over a lie he made in a meeting in Granans, in the what do you call it, center again, in which he accused the former administration of collecting a whole set of thousands of dollars from an investor who sent some money to the treasury and some to the office in Granans, that the NNP office in Granans. When he made that statement in the center, I saw the video from it, and the excitement that man created in that meeting was amazing. She called upon him all the time to preserve evidence that what he said in that meeting was true. Up to this day, not a shred of evidence has come forward.
Lying like one horse trotting.
Mr. Man, the man aligned disease.
Yeah. Yes, caller, thank you.
Thank you.
Definitely. and you could drop the bar, you could lower the bar. How come we bringing the bar so low? How come we tolerating this level of corruption in the country? Could you imagine they building a 9x8 or 8x9 toilet and bathroom? That is a small thing. How something like that could take a year to build? Yes, caller, welcome. Use the
Mr. Pierre.
last caller for the day.
Mr. Pierre, you mustn't talk about the lie, Mr. Pierre. Look, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Evan Pierre lied on the Prime Minister.
What, caller, stop all. Caller, what did Emmeline Pierre say that is a lie?
She's a lie.
Tell me what she said.
The Prime Minister never blamed nobody for anything.
What she say about the Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister blamed the victim. The Prime Minister never blamed no victim.
Caller, the statement the Prime Minister made was unacceptable. The Prime Minister was blaming the parents, and it appears that he was blaming the victim. The Prime Minister did not show empathy. Caller, Deacon Mitchell is the leader of the country. One girl was murdered. What the Prime Minister had to do is to show empathy and concern. He was blaming people. And Emmeline Pierre was correct. Not Emmeline Pierre alone. I thought the Prime Minister was stupid twice. And I know he's a fake, but I never expected him. A woman died. She was murdered while going to work. It is a crime of rage and passion. I expected when the Prime Minister to speak on it. It was a crime of rage and passion. How could you blame the girl parents? How you could blame her? The age for which consent is granted in Grenada is 16 years. So she qualified to have a man. The Prime Minister of Grenada want to drop it to 12. And then he blaming the parents of an 18-year-old that walk in. The Prime Minister had to be stupid twice. Emmeline Pierre petted the Prime Minister. How in God's name could the Prime Minister appear to be blaming the parents for a crime of rage and passion? The girl dressed, going to work. Maybe some tabanka take the man. He lose it. It's a crime of rage and passion. He lost it and kill her. Your Prime Minister come and here blaming parents. The Prime Minister is a lunatic. He should apologize. When the bomb blast took place in Telescope, the Prime Minister never addressed the nation. That is a Prime Minister that's sneaking in Nigeria, and he was chastised by the governor of Lagos State. The Prime Minister stood on the public, chastised the previous government for not giving out the Chinese houses. He chastised them. He called them criminals. The Prime Minister took back the keys. You know what it is to take back the keys from the poor of the poor? And up to today, he has not given them the house. I believe Deacon Mitchell is a common thief. The Prime Minister raided the Grenada Development Bank. He could have gone to Parliament or go in Cabinet, change the law and regulation under which the bank was functioning since 1973. So what he would have done after is not illegal. We would have said corrupt. But what he did was not, what he would have done that would not have been considered illegal. The Prime Minister drummed the fence. They set up a dummy board, a corrupt board. and then they take money from the bank and give it to ministers, directors of the board, and other politically exposed NDC friends. There is a common thief. They're not corruption. That bit corruption have more sophistication. Corruption have more sophistication. It's like you watch a wrong and you jump the fence and go and take people crap in the land. That is common thieves. Color. The Prime Minister and other members of the top echelon of the NDC was selling passport. We spoke about it relentlessly. Who is going to guard the guards? We said you cannot be chief cook and bottle washer. We said the Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance is the two most important person to review that sale of the passport. How you could be selling? That is corruption. That is wrong. We spoke about it. Then the Prime Minister, then we hear in Peter David. Come on, man. How we could bring this thing so low in the country? How Peter David could end up going to sell passport? It means Deacon made a deal with Peter. How Peter could get himself in that 1 month before Peter launched his party. We hearing that Peter selling passport. And some of Peter henchmen, are using that word now, henchmen, start to say, if we get 3 seats and Deacon get that, we go from the government. How you could betray people like that? How could you? 118 million. KJ, $118 million was received 14 days after burial. Why was it necessary to suspend paying the debt? Our income was not affected. The 2 parishes that was damaged was Karaku and St. Patrick's, but our income base was not affected. In fact, the government themselves claimed that it was collecting more money than that was projected. So your income base was not affected. You receive 118 million. Electricity company, I can't remember how much money they received. And now NASA received 2-point-something million. Why was it necessary to suspend the payment of debt? Deacon is a corrupt individual, and I believe he is evil. No person in the right economic mind would not do that. And remember the Joseph papers. The sister felt compelled to warn Grenadians because she realized Deacon would be unleashed on our public. So she felt compelled. She felt she had a moral responsibility to warn Grenadians. Color, how do you explain Deacon consuming an illegal substance in the presence of the police? And young people start to post on social media falling weed. Color, how do you explain Deacon in a public using obscenities and encouraging people to cuss bad word? Color, how do you explain the sudden rise in striptease clubs and whorehouse, targeting the lower economic strata? KJ, Are you a classless person? Or are you part of the privilegencia? Do you consider yourself part of the privilegencia? You must be. How do you, 52 years after independence, how could we have a leader propagating classism? Classless, commoners, beggy, cultural vultures. Color, how you explain the treatment of the Maribor farmers? 22 farmers who have been benefiting from the water. They shared water with the Maribor propagator for the last 26 years. For the last, I want that sink in. I want the people in the diaspora who like to say, we speaking about Deacon. 26 years, those farmers shared the water. And they cut them off because they say 1 ton green. Just as how they're treating Oma. We want to thank you for being on our program today and participating. And we encourage you to join us again. And always remember to switch on to us on Studio Galaxy 473 on Saturdays. And we have a Wednesday program about 5 o'clock in the evening. Switch on to Studio Galaxy. And on Monday, you could join us in Paraclete. And when we have a Lenten mission. And I encourage the men, in particular in the community, to participate, attend the Lenten mission. We have too much of men in the madhouse. We have too much of men in jail. We have too much of vagrants in the country. And we have too much of men that fighting to go in Deacon's strip club and whorehouse. So I encourage you, I invite you to attend the Lenten mission in Paraclete on Monday about 6 o'clock. And I'm back with you again as soon as the clock struck 12 next week, Monday. And beware the eyes of March. Our people must know the history. A lot of things happen from March 13. And the month of March is generally March, May, July, and October. Beware the eyes of March. Thank you very much.
When the clock hits 12, when the clock hits 12, you know where to be. Turn it up, Real FM, ride the frequency. Talking truth, talking change, talking all that's real. With Francis Pierre at the wheel. Politics to faith, the latest trend.